Hello, this is Lisa from Happy Stamp, and today we're going to make this cute little box. And it holds one of these Andes snap bars. You can get them at Walmart. I got them at my local grocery store, but I saw them at Walmart. So let's go ahead and get started. You need 2 pieces of cardstock that measure 2 by 7 1/4. And then you're going to need a piece of designer series paper. This is Rich Razzleberry, and I am using the Share What You Love designer series paper. And this is 3/4 by 6. So 3/4 by 6. You're going to need some ribbon to hold it together, and then just some scraps to make the little flowers that I have on here, and then a scrap of Whisper White. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to bring in my scoreboard, and you're going to score this at a 1/2 inch all the way, and 1/2 inch on each side. So 1/2 inch all the way around. And I did find that scoring it a 1/2 inch all the way around is better than scoring at like a 1/2 inch and then 6 3/4. For some reason, it didn't come out as well. So I just did a 1/2 inch on all 3 sides, or all 4 sides, sorry. All right, and you're going to do that on both of your pieces of cardstock. But for the lid, this is going to be the bottom. For the lid, you're going to need a little bit more give to get the lid on top. Otherwise, they're both together and they're not going to come together correctly. So I made this shim, and you can find this on Connie Stewart's channel. She shows how to make one of these shims. It's just made out of a piece of our acetate, and then you just clip it on here, and it just gives a little bit, bumps it out just a little bit, so you're going to know that this is your lid, but you're still going to score it at a 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. Just make sure you don't go underneath the shim. Make sure that it's on top of the shim, or right next to the shim. All right. So this is going to be our lid. So I'm going to put that up there so that I don't get them mixed up. All right, so we're going to take the bottom of our box with our bone folder here, and we are going to give a good crease on all of the sides. So I'm getting all of my stuff ready for on stage, because that is next weekend. So I'm going to be leaving to go to that on Friday night next week with 2 of my downline, which happen to be my mom and one of her good friends, which is now one of my good friends. So I'm just cutting up on the score lines on the edges down here on each side, and then I'm just giving a little bit of a shave right down here. All right. All right. So now you're going to take your glue, and I'm using my Tombow, and I'm going to put that on the outside, and that's going to go, we're going to fold that in and have these 2 edges meet here. And I just like to take a little paper clip or one of the mini clothespins and just let it set for a second. Make sure that it adheres nicely. And then we'll do the same thing down here. And bring that up so that our edges meet. And I do have more mini clips. I just always forget to bring them over here. All right, so this is going to be the bottom of our box. Now you're going to do the same thing to the top of your box that we did to the bottom of our box. Just make sure that that is nice, and what I did is I just made sure that these were folded under nicely to get them in there. And I just slid that in there so that fits good. Alrighty, now let's make the top of our box. So do the same thing. And then do our little clips here. All right. And then we're going to put our glue on. Little clip here. Go to the other side. I'm just going to hold it for a second. And then I'm going to put my clip on over here. All right. Make sure the sides meet. Let's do this side. All right. I'm just going to kind of give it a little press there. All right. So here is the top of our box. Let's see if it works. Yep. Oops. You kind of got to stuff it in there, but it does work. I'm getting it hung up over here. There we go. There we got it. Make sure that our sides here are going to stay together. All right. Now we can take our strip of Designer Series paper. And I'm just going to take some snail here. Going to go right on the top of the box, trying to leave an even border on all four sides. All right. Good. Then I'm going to take our velvet ribbon, and this is in Rich Razzleberry, and I'm just going to put a little knot in here just to keep it closed. And when I put this up here and then I flip this over, you're going to notice the wrong side of the ribbon is out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it a twist, because we want all the velvet side to be out. Right. My ribbon scissors. There we go. Okay. Now I'm just going to take a scrap of Whisper White from my scrap bin. Let's just find one here. Here's one. I just have a scrap here. And the stamp set that I'm using is more of a demonstrator stamp set, but it's still, I mean, handmade by your biggest cheerleader. It's still a great stamp set. Making dreams come true. It's the best job ever, which this is the one I'm going to be using. Way better than a text. Love it, live it, share it. Your way to the top. Here's one, welcome to the team. So like I said, I'm going to be using It's the Best Job Ever. And I have that mounted here, and I'm going to use my rich raspberry ink. Just make sure that's nice and inked up. Wonderful. All right, so now I'm going to let that dry for a second. Just going to push that over to the side and let it dry. Now we need to make these little flowers, and I've already made two, but I'm going to show you how I made them. They're right on the little box here. Okay. All right, so what I have done, I've taken the Bitty Blooms punch pack, and there's a set of 4. There's a set of 4 of them. 3 little flowers, and then this is the inside of the flower and a little leaf. So I've used these 2 right here. I made myself a little box to keep them in. I took a piece of rich raspberry with the little flower, and I cut that out. So I'm done with that. Then I took a piece of, I think this is Granny Apple Green, which really is not in the paper, but it goes all right. And I'm just putting a little silver in the little leaf. So I have a little leaf right there. Then I'm taking a piece of the Grapefruit Grove, and that's just going to be cut out with the little circle right there. So there's our little circle. And I'm done with that. I am bringing in my paper piercing mat. I don't know if you can tell, but these flowers have just a tad bit of a dimension on them, just a tad. And how I did that is I put my flower right there on my paper piercing mat, and then I just took the end of my paper piercer and pushed that down, and that just gives it a little bit of a push. And then, what did I do? Where did my little, there it is, on the bottom of my paper piercing mat. Okay. There we go. And I'm just going to take a little bit of glue. I'm going to put it right in the center here. All right. Then I'm going to take it in my pickup tool, and I'm going to take the little inside of the flower, and that's going to go right there on the inside. Then I'm going to take a glue dot, just a glue dot here, and I'm going to set that right on top of the glue dot. Don't push down because you don't want to get rid of all your dimension there. And then I'm just going to pick that up with my paper piercing tool, and I'm going to set that right on my leaf. Okay, so that's going to adhere it right to the leaf there. All right, just like that. Got my paper piercing tool good and stuck to it. All right, I'm going to use that again. So I am going to take these, and I'm going to set these aside for a second because no. Okay, I'm going to take this that I have stamped, and there is not a punch for this or a die. So I'm just going to fussy cut this real quick. It's not hard. And if you'll see, I'm doing my best to try and move my paper and not my scissors. That helps when you're fussy cutting things. Just going to get this a little bit closer. There we go. And with our paper snips, they are so sharp. And this little edge right here gets right in the little edges, so they are really good for fussy cutting. And I'm just gonna just try and move the paper and not the snips. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna bring my box and my flowers back in. And I'm going to take some dimensionals, and I'm going to use the mini dimensionals. And I like to use my tweezers to put them on. And I'm going to put 3 mini dimensionals on here. All right. Take the backings off. And then this is going to go right down here. There we go. And I'm going to take some glue. And you can put the flowers anywhere you want. And this ribbon is pretty easy to untie, so I know when if you slip it off that it's going to get stuck on that flower, but this ribbon unties pretty nicely. So now I'm just going to stick my little flowers on there. Oops. You've also got a little bit of that glue dot showing too, so that helps it. That's going to give it some extra strength there. So that is it. Isn't that cute? I really like it. All right, so here's that one. And I guess if you can tell, I'm making these for on stage, so I have a few more to do. But I think they're really cute. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave me a comment below and I'll be happy to answer them. And all supplies can be purchased through my online store at www.happystamp.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.